Okay, friends, my today's topic is somewhere the very different type of topic, which is basically the research feeling that whatever reasons are given by the SPSS nowadays will be useful to them. But there is a fundamental errors are normally being coming among the participants that it is not correct that whatever the taste you can do it. I will give you some of the examples during the particular session. The parametric test and non-parametric test is basically the tools and technique of working. As you know, yesterday, our Vice Chancellor, Sri Kumar Shivji, have very categorically mentioned that our research should be application based and it should be relevant to the society at large. Any research can become relevant when it is going to be numerically established. The numerical fact and figures are to be known, and that is going to be the one of the very important parameters for the hypothesis testing. Now, when we come to the next slide, I don't know why it is not moving at this moment. Okay, it was somewhere my okay. When we try to be say about the very important point, as I mentioned, that the numbers are going to be quite important. So we have to look towards the meaning of statistics. People are being normally meaning that statistics means higher level of mathematics or lower level of mathematics. But statistical analysis is very important. When we try to be looks towards the laboratory test report, medical test report is coming, they also for a particular variable or the item under consideration, they are giving the specific value, and on the right hand side, range is being given. It's basically based on certain statistical parameters having defined. So it is used in two ways. It's referred to the data. For doctor, it is the data based on which they are prescribing the medical dose and something. So it is the principle which have been developed for handling numerical data. Statistics is defined as a branch of mathematics or science, deals with connection, analysis, and interpretation of the information. So statistics is basically the art and science. It is art also and science also. Because whatever the scientific principles are being given, those we are supposed to work out on the applicable way. So when it comes to the application way, we are saying it's the arts and science of connection, organization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of the data. So interpreting of the data is very important. So it is the field of statistics which we use starting from every type of the activities. We can take the industrial activity, we can take the pharmaceutical activity, biostatistics. When we talk about the agriculture economics, the statistic is coming into picture. So it's the field of statistics about connecting, analyzing, and making the decision using the data for the success. Number of time we come across to the knowledge that when the medical report is coming, then doctors may doubt some parameters and they say that you can go for second time the medical test because certain characteristics are coming to the contravention to each other. And that is the need of us as a researcher to understand that what is wrong going on in the particular information. So here we are specifically coming down a very important quote given by North Canvey that when you can measure what you are speaking about and express it in numbers, you know something about it. So without numbers, if we talk anything, then it has no meaning. It is a meager pass on of the knowledge or the general information. We got it from the WhatsApp University. We can put it in that way. That he hears and say we are using it as an authenticate page, which is not the correct thing. So key definitions. Now we are on the very important parameters of the research methodology. We are starting for the data analysis and tools. That is the chapter number 3 and chapter number 4 of our research thesis normally, where we are trying to be talk about the research method, and later on we are trying to be talk in the next chapter the data analysis and interpretation. So here the two words are coming very categorically, that is the population and statistics. People are making mistake in this particular thing. Population is the connection of all items of interest or under investigation. And that is why when we go to the medical field and our doctor says that you can go with a CBC testing, there's 7 to 8 type of tests are coming into picture. Basically, it is one of the way to establish the contradictory relationship. So if anything goes wrong in that, they try to be get the sample to be done second time. So when the population is represented by the capital N, and it is basically indicating the specific characteristics, and that is known as the parameters. So population is aligned with the parameters, sample is aligned with the characteristics. That is a very important thing. Doctor have certain parameters in his mind. Now statistic is going to be used as a specific characteristics. So it is the subset of the population and it is represented by small n. Now here when we try to be look into this particular graph, there is a population have been given of the alphabets A to Z. That is the total population of the alphabets, and that is known as parameters. While from that, we are selecting only 8 of the alphabets. So it is the values computed from the sample data of the A to Z. It is known as the statistics. Coming to the point, so population is going to be at a very high level, is going to be work, and it is going to be with respect to continuation of the specific species. Like we can say the Indian population. Now Indian population is going to be considered on the demographic way the name of all registered voters in India. Or we are going to be work out the income of all families living in the state of Gujarat. Or we can work out the annual returns of all stock traded on the Bombay Stock Exchange. We can also have the grade point averages of all the students in university. That is going to be the example of the populations. Now, I say that whenever medical report is coming, some of the parameters or variables are going to be looked into. Now, those variables will have certain constant value. That is the minimum value is required. Like you cannot say that protein in the body is going to be 0%. If the doctor come across that protein in the body is 0%, doctor will stand up from his chair and he say, do the study second time. Because That is a characteristics of an individual. In the same way, they are going to be the characteristics of an entity. So a variable can take different values for different individuals, and variables can be of two types. It may be with respect to categorical or the quantitative. When we say the categorical, is going to be indicating the specifically the quantitative parameters. While we measure it in the terms of value, it is going to be considered as the quantitative. So there are going to be the certain constant value is going to be exist of a fixed numerical value, and that is known as the constant. So here the result is happen that how we describe the data. Hence here now I am starting in the way that I will be discussing about the important statistical tools and technique, hypothesis tools and technique, and parallelly I will be showing you the screenshot of the SPSS 31. Nowadays, in the last June 25, IBM has released the latest version of SPSS 31 is now in the existence. We people have normally worked from the SPSS 10 to the another level also, but the latest version is 31, and in the SPS 31 specifically, the non-parametric tests are being considered as a one of the specific icon in the program. Here I will try to give you some of the formula of the statistical test being done, which is to understand that how the calculation is done. Now you are not going to do it manually, as all of we know, because you have the computer systems were there. But when I say when I did my PhD, in my PhD I have to do the own calculation without the support of computer, without the support of any type of specific software. So selecting the proper statistical test, forming the proper hypothesis is one of the significant points. Nowadays, whenever the theses are coming to me, whenever I found that there is a hypothesis have been developed and statistical tests have been results have been shown, which is coming to the contradictory, and finally, I have no alternative than to reject the hypothesis. The reason is very clear that we have to make sure that how the data to be looked into and work can be done. So we should look towards the oddities in the data and be prepared to adapt the summaries you can calculate. When I say look at the oddities, it means that from the database, from the sample database, outliers are going to be removed by us so that we can do it properly. So look at the data using the tables and graph, understand how to summarize a categorical variable, understand how to summarize a numerical variable. Last and very important point, identify any structure in your data and use it for summarization. So normally I used to say that if I selected the 500 samples are to be undertaken by me, then I am not going to be do my preliminary study for the 500 sample database. Normally it is being experienced by majority of the researchers across the globe that 15 to 20% sample regions sample survey, whatever coming to us, those are coming as a part of the audit. Some of the information is missing, some of the informations they are giving you, which is contradictory within the questionnaire. So whenever we should form the questionnaire or we should go to the interview based connection, we should make sure that we should make sure that 15 to 20% are going to be rejected. So from 700, if 20% goes away, then my number of sample is going to be 550. So what a sample size is selected is the minimum sample size for my research project. Maybe for dissertation, maybe for postdoctoral study, maybe for research paper. So this is one of the very important thing, that how we should find out the oddities available in the data, and that is known as the outlier. So here we can say we have the variables are there in research and measurable characteristics, a very important point. Either measurable characteristics that change or vary, classified by their own. So we are going to be have the independent variable. It means that it is a value which we can change and we can find out the effect on dependent variable. There are going to be the certain variables are kept under control. That is control variable. I am coming into detail for on this later on, but I'm just putting up short point on this. Data types. It may be categorical or continuous. When we say the categorical, it means that it is going to be with respect to the nominal scale and the ordinal data scale. Then we come to the continuous, where it is going to be in the form of the ratio and interval. Now when we come to the SPSS, very importantly, SPSS provide the three type of the scale in their database. One is nominal, one is ordinal, and third is categorical. Sorry, third is coming, where it is being said that continuous variable, where both are going to be taken into consideration. And in relationship, we are going to be have the mediator or the moderator. And key types includes the independent, which is the manipulated clause. Means I am going to be change the manipulated code. I am going to be change the one of the value, and I will find out the effect of that, and that is known as the dependent variable. Others include the control, means we keep the certain value constant, or it is going to be exogenous. It means that unwanted influence is coming, then we just omit it. And that is known as the categorical versus continuous. Now I come to the detailed way. The variables here I bifurcated into two categories. In the quantitative, which is going to be the quantitative, which is going to be the part of the nominal scale and ordinal scale, where it may be dichotomous, where it is going to be gender, like man and female. We are not considering third gender in this particular discussion. Marital status, married or unmarried. Polynomous, we are saying, so many alternatives are being available, like brand of PC, what are the different hair colors. Quantitatively, the data may be exact value, like a children in family is going to be 2 or 3. It cannot be in the decimal terms. In the same way, stocks on a grown fund, that is going to be discrete. And continuous is going to be the certain range of value, which may become in the decimal point also. Like a amount of income tax paid, weight of our students may be coming in a decimal point. Like 62.30 kilo, like that it will be coming. So type of research variables, I am bifurcating into the two slides. Total number of measurement or the types of variable we are having is 7. Majority of the research scholars are saying that the number of research variables are 2 or 3, but it is not so. In our research project, we have to make sure that all type of the research variables are being used. Independent variable, that is normally being considered as a IV, the factor manipulated, selected or controlled by the researcher to determine its relationships to an observed phenomena. As yesterday in the inauguration session, I understand that our participants are from on different faculties. So today I made some of the changes for the example too, so that it can take the wider scope being available. Like drug dosage, dosage of the drug is going to be considered as an independent variable. Dependent variable is the factor that changes or expected to change in response to independent variable. It is the outcome being measured. That is the patient recovery speed. That particular antibiotic, how it has supported to the COVID um, treatment and so. Control variables, factors that is kept constant by the researcher to ensure the results are due to manipulation of the independent variable rather than outside influence. And that is why patient is taking the, sorry, doctor is taking the patient in the specific ICU or critical care units so that other atmospheric impact does not come. And the recovery of the patient may be speedy or positive. Then going to be extraneous, that is uncontrolled variables that are not the focus of the study, but may influence the dependent variable. Now here I can say the HIV. The participants' age in a study about training method is going to be affecting the dependent variable, that is the learning have been happened to them. That how much learning have been successfully done. So participants' age is going to be important. Then we comes to the confounding variable. That is a specific type of extraneous variable that coordinate with both dependent and independent variable, which may be masking or distorting the two relationships. Like we say that doctor is going to be give the medicines or treatment for the particular disease, but at the same moment to remove the side effect of some medicines, additional vitamins or etc. are being given. That is known as the confounding variables. I think everyone got the understanding of this extraneous and the confounding variables. If anyone have doubt, you can raise your hand and the coordinator will talk to me. Moderator variables, variable that enter the state or direction of the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. So moderator variable is going to be enter the state. So it means that the additional medicines given by doctors or certain additional training tools are being used in the HI training, or the training module have been provided in the HR training is going to be considered as a moderator variable. Then there is going to be the mediator variables. That is explain the mechanism of process, underline the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. When we are going to be have the feedback policy for each training session, then we can say that the feedback form is a one type of the mediator variable. Now we can also classify it another way, and that's very important, by the data type. Means how, which type of the data we are using in our study. Quantitative variable varies in amount and numerical value. Examples are very clear. Height and temperature. Categorical variable varies in kind, falling into separate categories, like a gender, type of treatment given, like a critical treatment given, or moderate level of treatment given, or in the ward, normal treatment have been given. Then there is going to be the continuous variable. Those are forms along a continuum with no fixed or separate bit. That is continuous variable. Time period, distance, it may come in the decimal point also. Discrete variable forms in a separate and distinct bits. It means that number of changes where it cannot be in the decimal point. Now, once we understand the populations, we understand the variables to be taken into consideration. Now, the very important point is coming. In the beginning, I said that if my acceptance, the sample size or expected by me as a researcher is 500, but I will go on doing the sample connection for 700 because I am coming with an outlier. Those data I am supposed to be removed from my database to get the data in a very, very proper way. So there is a sampling way how to do it. So we can have the simple random sampling is a procedure I am explaining. We have the purposive sampling also, convenience sampling also. Those things I'm not going to be touched much because considering the time frame and it is easy to understand, my concentration will be to explain depth of the topic, which normally books are not in a position to explain clearly, or we cannot make out clearly. Simple handling sample is a procedure in which, number one, each member of the population have the equal chance to be selected. Number two, population is going to be selected by chance. There is no specific, we can say that there is a curtain have been placed on the eye and the samples have been selected. And every possible sample of an object is equally likely to be chosen. So it is known as the random sampling. Now the question is coming that how I say that 500 sample. Are there any way available to decide the sample size? Yes, there are the different ways are being available, which I am coming now with a sample size determination, which is the one of the very, very significant point. One place the population is unknown to you. Population size is unknown, or there is going to be infinite populations. And sometimes it is going to be the finite population. So here I am taking the example of the Kochen sample size formula. Kochen sample size formula is a highly adaptable formula in the normal research, where here the value have been taken z square Here I have put up in the below the calculation of the 385, where I took the value is 1.96 raised to square. So Z value is 1.96, which means that I am taking the 5% level of confidence. It means that 95% confidence level. That is 1.96. Then P we are standing for the population size. When the population size is unknown to us, or it is infinity, then we take the population size as 0.50. 1 minus P means another 0.50 divided by E square. E square is basically indicating the margin of error. When we say the level of significance 5%, it means that there is a 5% possibility that my results are not correct. That is very important. When I say my level of confidence, NOC, sorry, level of significance, I made an error to say, my level of significance is 5%, it means that there are the 5% chances. It means 5 out of 100 that the conclusion drawn by me in the research is wrong. So whenever we are coming down to the normal study of our social science, we are taking the 5% level of significance. But when it comes to the biostatistic, when it comes to the pharmaceutical, when it comes to the medical test and so, there we are not using the 5% level of significance, but we use the 1% level of significance. So here the value is came to 385. Now this is the minimum size of sample I should have reported in my research dissertations or in my research project. So when it comes to n is equal to 385, you must have come across that. Majority people are saying the sample size should be 500. Now, I have already explained and made a second at a 6% level of significance. My objective is that don't have to only go with a 1%, 5% such way. You can choose another number also. Like in this study of 286, I have used the level of significance is 6%. Now here, when the population size is known to you, very exactly population size is known to you, then the number of samples is equal to number of member in populations, then E is equal to confidence interval, and n is small n is going to be the sample size. When we say that how many chartered accountants are found, how many practicing chartered accountants are found to involve in the inaction funds movement. Now there you know exactly the size of population, that is the number of practicing chartered accountants in India, and you can say that how many people are being involved. Now if the population region says something, you can take your sample and you find out that whether those chartered accountants are involved in those activities or not. So I said here, sample size in continuous database, where we are going to be know in the continuous database, we know the mean value, so we know the standard deviation also. When I come to the next, it is the discrete database, another formula can be used. Now, there is a dichotomous variable, whether the person is smoking or not. Dichotomous. Someone say yes, someone say no. This is only two alternatives we are saying. Sometimes we will say yes, you are smoker in the category of smoker. For decotious variable in a single population, the formula for determining the sample size is given here, where E is the desired margin of error. That is the level of significance. Approximate anticipated proportion of success in population is going to be between 0 to 1. But normally we use, when it is unknown, we take the value is 0.5. Now I am taking an example of that. A researcher wants to estimate the prevalence of ovarian cancer among women who are between 50 and 55 age living in a particular area. Suppose national data suggests that 1 in 400 women are diagnosed with ovarian cancer by age 55. This gives the proportion of 0.0025. It means 25% or a prevalence of 25 per 10,000 women. I know our research scholar knows the mathematics very well. So calculation I am not being discussing more. If the investigator want to estimate within 10 per 10,000 women with 95% confidence level, what is going to be the status? So here we put the value of P, which is already calculated, 0.0025. We minus it, then we take the Z value, which is going to be the 1.96. I already say 95% confidence level. I am going to take the value 1.96 and my error level, that is 10 per 10,000 women. So that is the possibility of 0.0010 square. So my sample size is coming 9,580 women. You know, number of times we say that in the pharmaceutical research, more samples are taken because of this particular reason. The way your level of significance is going to be lower, number of sample size is going to be increased. Now, ये move नहीं हुआ. I mean, just find out. Okay. Yes. Now I says of the continuous variable. Hence, who are research scholars, who are research supervisors, you have to be very, very careful about the sample size. I don't want to openly say, but one time Shobhit also got my negative mark for one of the theses. But it is needed because our doctoral thesis is going to be part of Sodh Ganga, and at international level also it is going to be quite important. Because our doctoral study dissertation is required by everyone. After having your experience for 20 to 30 years of postdoctoral also, your thesis has its own meaning. The sample size of continuous variable, like measuring the constants of a concentration of a substance in a body fluid or physiological function, such as blood flow rate or the urine output. It is often critical to detect the difference in the mean of variable between two groups. Therefore, the statistical analytical model is more complex. So in the case of continuous data variable, the sample size can be calculated by this particular way. Small s is going to be considered as a population standard deviation of variable. D is going to be the magnitude of difference the investigator wishes to detect, often called the effect. And that is why doctors are giving some medicine and they try to say that you measure the diabetic on a regular way and so. And there is going to be the constant is the dependent on the selected value of alpha and beta. Alpha is equal to never of significant and beta is equal to 1 minus b. I am repeating, alpha is equal to never of significant and beta is equal to 1 minus alpha. Now here I am taking the example. Let us suppose that the concentration of toxic burden in a body fluid in a group of individuals is 9 milliliter for the one with a standard deviation of 5, and that new substance is discovered reduces the concentration of this matter in the body fluid. And we have to test whether detected, whether it enter the level of matter in the body fluid or not. So scientists would like to able to detect 3 million reduction in matter in body fluid between controlled and treated person. Controlled person, it means the person to whom the particular medicine or medical treatment is not given. And the treated person means the person to whom the treatment is given with a 90% confidence level. And here we will use the two-tailed test because it may be beneficial also, or it may be, it means it may be positive also, or it may be negative also. So it's a two-tailed test. So using the formula, we are getting the value being worked out. So we get the sample size is 159 for each group. So we need the total 118 members. So 59 members will be given the treatment and another 59 will not be given the treatment. Now we come to the selection of sample size. Time to an event. Time to an event, very important. Two approaches are there. Number one, the statistical analysis of time to an event involves complicated statistical model. That if the rain in a particular time period is coming, what is the effect of that on the agricultural product, agricultural produce? Or we can say that when the doctor is giving a particular type of medicine or treatment at the gap of 8 hours, what may be the reaction? If the same treatment is being given at the gap of 6 hours, what may be the impact? So when I say at our Shobhit University, we have the biostatistics going on, agriculture is going on. So deciding the sample size based on event is very important. The statistical analysis of time to an event involves complicated statistical program. Two simple approaches there. First approach is using the proportion in the two experiment group. So it's a very important. two experiment group is created. One group having given a particular treatment at the gap of 8 hours, one particular group having given the treatment at the end of every 6 hours. So two experiment groups having done, and we estimate, and we have to estimate the sample size. That how many samples we should give the treatment for 8 hours, after 8 hours, or after 6 hours type of thing. The first approach is using this sample size. This method converts the time to an event into dichotomous mode. The sample size is estimated by the given formula, where it was said this is the difference between expressed as a positive quantity, C is a constant that it depends on the chosen value of the alpha and beta. IC is the number of events in the control group, and C is the number of elements in control group or group another group. Like a two different types, that some treatment you give it to one element group, another element group, or parallelly to the human being and the element group, like that. And the total number of elements in the experimental group you can take it. Another approach is to treat that the to occurrence as a continuous variable. This approach is applicable only if untested individuals or elements are followed to an event occurrence. Means some event is happened, and then what is the time period is going on. So like a disease such as cancer, but it cannot be used if some of the individuals element do not reach the event during the study. So here you are going to select the patient who are being suffering from cancer, and then there is a time period having taken into consideration. So here also we are going to be consider the population standard deviation. D is going to be the magnitude of difference the investigator wishes to detect. That is the effect. Like particular medicine says that it is going to be improved upon the status quo for the 5 years period or so after the disease. And there is going to be the constant is worked out. And this is known as the power. Very specific. If you turn out that if you were to go out and sample many times, most sample statistics that you could calculate would follow the normal distribution. Normal distribution means distribution of the study is going to be being shaped. What are the two parameters that define any normal distribution? Normal curve is characterized by two parameters, very important. Number one, mean, and second is going to be standard deviation. So mean and standard deviation is going to be the one of the very important tool available to decide whether the sample data, whether the normal curve is coming to existence or not. So what do you think the mean value of a sample statistics would be? It means that you are presuming some value or standard deviation. Remember, standard deviation is the natural variability of the population. Natural variability, and standard error can be standard error of the mean or standard error of the odd ratio or difference between the two means to population size. So the standard error of any sample is going to be considered as a power of our statistics. So as the size of the effect is increasing, power is increasing. As the standard deviation is decreasing, power is increasing. Bigger the size of sample, power is increased, and the significance never desired. As you reduce, power is going to increase. But normally the significance never desired, we are going to be taken to the higher. Next is coming. Now, once we understand this basic point, now we come to we have already decided variables we have to take. The sample size we have to choose is the two important parameters. Now there the two branches of statistics are coming. One is known as the descriptive statistics, and another is basically known as the inference statistics. Okay, there is no check. Someone has put, so I was just trying to check it. Two branches of statistics have been given. That is, one is known as descriptive statistics, graphical and numerical procedure to summarize and process data. Inference statistics, using data to make predictions, forecasts, and assist in the decision making by estimating the value. We are, as a researcher, more involved in inference statistics. And that is why majority of the places there is a methodology is adopted as a co-guide. Because the research methodology and statistical tool decision is somewhere difficult for the subject specialist to do. Why stop switching? Okay. Now, so here the steps involved: cleaning and organizing the data for analysis. That is, I say data preparation. That basically the data cleaning. Remove the outlier of the data from the selected sample and come to the accepted size of sample. Wrong samples, wrong information is coming from the sample number of time. They are not willing to disclose the full information, or they do not understand what our question is. Number two, we use the descriptive statistics where we will describe the data. Then we will come to the testing of hypothesis and model. Now I am coming to the scale parameters as given in SPSS. And then I'm coming into detail of that. Then I will come to the type of scale. Okay. So whenever we go to the SPSS 31, we can go to the option named as analysis. Analysis icon is coming as a fifth number icon in the SPSS 31. In that particular analysis, I have already marked, and my cursor is there, which indicate the scale. Where it was scaled, that the scale is going to be of the different way. Like you can have the probability analysis, weighted analysis, binary analysis, and so you can do it. So this is the model. I will come to the detail of the data view and that one by one. Type of scale. Research corner being the question from different kind of the scale. They need to know the difference in order to choose the appropriate type. Each scale type has its own characteristics. There are four types of the scales are there as per research methodology. Interval and ratio is covered under the one scale by the SPSS 31 precisely. Nominal scale. This is the nominal scale where the classification is to be done. Right? It is always going to be mutually exclusive and connectively exhaustive. For example, symphony patron could be classified by whether or not they had attended prior performance, attended or not attended. The counting of members in each group is the only possible arithmetic operation when nominal scale is applied within our mapping unit of the categories. These numbers are recognized by neighbor only and it has no quantitative value. Means you can say yes, their previously played means 1, not played means 0. Does not have any quantitative value. So they suggest no order or distance relationship and no arithmetic origin can be done by us. So the researcher is restricted to use this mode as a measure of central tendency. The mode is the most frequently occurring value. So we should use the mode for the same. And there we can take the cluster of the distribution of the score. So everyone may not be follow the same thing, but we are going to be use the mode that how many time, how many people have done. Second is coming ordinance score. Under the order, ordinance is specifically means order. You are going to be come to the order level. Numbers are ordered. One number is greater than, less than, or equal to another number. It depends on you. Whether you say one is totally disagree or you can say one is totally agree. So this is the way number is greater than, less than, anyway. You can develop a question that allow them to order the response as well as group them. So it is a very important that people may order object but only consistent criteria. So if we, for example, let us take, if we tell them that Pizza Hut is better than Papa John's, they are not thinking precisely the same. One could really fear Pizza Hut, never considering eating another Papa John pizza, which another could consider interchangeable way. So there is going to be the slight changes in the preferences of the Pizza Hut. This is basically one type of, we can say, that weather warning system also can be used for that, whether the people are driving on the road in by following the proper traffic rule or not. That is going to be the ordinance scale is being used. It is environmental friendly. So here we can say that ordinance data, night school grade, ABC, education level, seniority level. The very important thing is that whenever you have the ordinance data scale is there, always use the non-parametric statistical test. And from the descriptive statistic, you can show the frequency distribution, mode, median, and the range. That is ordinal database. So for nominal database and ordinal database, non-parametric test is important. Third measurement, we are coming to the interval. Now, in measuring one device's some mapping unit and translate those observations into the property, indicating using the unit. So mapping unit is going to be used for that. Like you can classify the numbers into particular group or short responses. Order means the number of orders are numbered, less than one. Distance means that difference between number can be measured. And origin means that the number series at a unique origin indicated by the number 0 does not mean 0 to exist. Number 0 is a one of the parameters. So we are coming to this particular way. So here we can say that interval scan characteristics by the nominal and ordinal scale plus the concept of equality of the interval. Like when we try to take the weather instrument, when we try to take the thermometer, then there is a calculations are done at a very correct equal distance so that numbers can be worked out very clearly. Fourth level of measurement is coming to the ratio. Yes, and this is the ratio is very important when we come down to the social science, life science study, finance and accounting, humanity factors. This is very important. In measuring one device is some mapping unit and then translate the observations of properly indications using this unit. Mapping unit have four characteristics. Like classification means the numbers are used to group or sort the responses. So there is a group is created. Order means that the numbers are ordered. One number is greater than, less than, or equal to another. I already explained this. Distance means that difference between the numbers. That and so we have discussed in the last slide. Origin means that the number series has a unique origin indicated by the number 0. Or it may be any one number. Like when we try to take the weight, then weight measurement instrument is going to be have the 0 as a basically accepted value. Then we come down to this particular characteristics of the weight, height, number of changes, that the absolute 0 point. Theoretically can be exist. So these four parameters are shortlisted by the small graph, which are all measurements are indicating nominal, whether you are doing, whether to do the first side or not, yes or no, ordinal, that is slope, place and wind, interval, what is the difference between the second, and ratio can be calculated. Then we comes down to the whatever I discussed, those I put up here, nominal scale, we have to use the counting and we should use the frequency or mode. When we come down to the order, we are doing the counting and ordering. So we should use frequencies, mode, median and range. When we come down to the interval, there should be the common arithmetic operations to be performed. So additionally, we have introduced here the mean variance and standard deviation. When the ratio is coming, then we are taking it to the standard deviation square. As we have already understand the different level of the scale, so now I am taking to the SPSS 31 screenshot, where it was being mentioned, is a very important thing, that name is going to be given by you, type may be, your type of the variable view may be numerical, string or data. When we say the numerical value, you understand string means we are using the alphanumerical value or alpha value, and the data is going to be of the more digit normally. And this is the way we are coming down to the data type. Then here which is given, decimal is given. Here you are giving the explanation of the each variable as a label. Then you can say that the weather venue. Like here I it said in the gender that female means 0, like that. Then we can say whether some data is missing or not. See, when you are putting on your 700 sample survey data, import it in the SPSS. SPSS automatically find out some of the missing database. Then we can say the number of columns we have. Then we can say that whether your data should be right aligned or left aligned. And then measures is given the scale. I mentioned that in the SPSS we are having the nominal scale, ordinal scale, and scale only. So when the word is used scale only as a measure, it means that it is the interval and ratio data. Now, first, when we go to the SPSS, first we have to create the variable value in the find. After you create the variable value, each variable will be taking the place of column. Understand? Is take the place of column, and you can have the identification wise data view is being available. After I identify the data, my important point is happening that should I remove some of the parameters or not. So for that particular, I have taken the dependent variable current semi. I took the independent variable, that is a previous year, previous experience, months since in the joining, and the joining semi are going to be defined the current semi. See, it's a very important. In a human resources or employment data, we require to decide what may be the current semi of the employee. Then here, hypothetically, I have taken the three variables. That previous year experience, number of months person have joined, or and at the time of the beginning of the joining, what may be there. Then by analysis, I come down to the linear regression. Here it was say linear regression. So my multilinear regression model is going to be used. And once I give the click to OK, report is going to be generated. So types of statistics, one I explained descriptive. Now I come to the relational statistics. Very important thing. Univariate means one-way variations. It may be multivariate or it may be impartial. Now, when I come to the descriptive statistics, and earlier place, I have shown you that I have tried to be work out the dependent value, dependent semi based on current semi, previous experience, and months of hiring and beginning semi. So here I get the mean value, I got the standard deviation and the number of observation selected for that. So here it is said that the sample size is 474 with a mean and standard deviation have been given. Hence, very important point at this moment. This is the SPSS is normally costing for individual professions between 1 lakh to 2 lakh based on the time period you are taking the license. There is a student version is available which is not professional, so some of the options are not being available, which is normally costing $90 to $100 based on the time age. Third is coming very important for us, which I have also used at this moment, because I have SPSS 22 official license is there, but there is no meaning to talk for today SPSS 22 because 31 has come. The IBM SPSS have provided that you can download the SPSS 31 free of cost, and that license copy is available only for 14 days in a year. Means I have downloaded before 8 days ago, so it was now available for next 5 or 6 days only. 14 days in a year continuously is available for each Gmail account. So if you have more than one Gmail account, you can get the license for everyone. But you have to be pre-workout for that and make sure that within the 14 days you can complete your work. So this is the way. Now, when you go to the official version, license version, and if you click on the standard deviation, then your pointer, their pointer will come and pointer will give you the meaning of that. This is a very important, which is not available in the demo copy. This is a demo copy available for 14 days. Now each venue you can click on the eye and you will get the meaning of that. So this is the one of the nice thing. Now descriptive statistical reports are being available. As I mentioned this, there is a icon of the analyze. Within the analysis you have so many options are being available, where one is descriptive, where you can have frequency descriptive, population descriptive, and all type of the different options are being available. Because of the screen size shortage, I have not taken it, but I am going to give you the one PPT as a study part later on to the Dr. Anuj Goyal, which will say that how the SPSS have been worked out. Now, W's of the data set is very important. The observation, population set of one observation, you are adjusted to obtain the sum value of parameters. That is going to be the one thing very important where I wrote it capital. Some of the students are making mistake in the writing of the dissertation. There is no such thing as a population sample or sample population. No words are there. So you have to use simple words of the sample. What means the variables? Why? Why was the data needed to be connected? How was the data connected? And when and where? More information that can be given. Now we come to the concept of inference and statistical inferences. So inference is basically drawing a conclusion based on some evidence. When we try to be say in the court of law, judges are coming to the inference based on the evidences are given to them. When we try to be talk about our national statistical organizations, or when we try to be talk about a Niti Aayog or so, they are doing it based on statistical information. That all government authorities say that what may be the expected GDP, then it is based on statistical inferences, where set of procedures in which the sample size and sample statistics are used to make the estimate of the population parameters. So here we can say that confidence interval investigative the question, and here left tail and right tail data is coming separately and is giving you the answer. So we can say that whenever there is a gender is used, we can use the nominal scale. When the choice of a particular type of product is coming, we use the ordinal scale and median. Mode is to be used for nominal scale, median to be used for ordinal scale, interval scale and ratio scale, which is covered under the definition of the scale, In the SPSS, mean is going to be considered as a measure. The signs are used. Number one, in the population parameters, we are using Dick-Natus. In the sample statistics, we are supposed to use the Roman-Natus. Average is being said in the Dick-Natus mu. In sample statistic, x by standard deviation is shown by the sign of sigma in case of population. In case of sample statistic, we use the S. I say that we are not going to use the sample population or population sample. We have to use the word sample statistics. Percentage pi, here it is going to be ethnic, small p. Slope, in the population parameters, we are saying it is beta. In the sample statistics, we are going to be showing it as a small ethnic b. It is being said that 90.99% of the population is going to be covered by x plus minus 3 standard deviation. X by plus minus 1 standard deviation is going to be of the 68% data. And that is basically going to be that particular shape outcome that is known as the asymmetrical or symmetrical. When frequency data is not normally band shape, then it is known as a asymmetrical database. Apart from central tendency and the dispersion, it is essentially to know the shape of the distribution to describe the data set. So before we go on describing the data set in our research project, we have to go to the validity and reliability of our data. Understanding of the validity and reliability. Now here it is being done by showing the arches know. When the arches know are coming in between, then it indicates that reliability is high and validity is high. When the arches know on the one way, where it is said that the validity is low, but reliability is high. When it is going to be dispersed, then reliability is very low. When it comes on the left-hand side on the right, it is says that the reliability and validity both is low. So reliability gets more attention, easier to understand, easier to measure, more formula, like we have the Cronbach's alpha, which I have not taken here, but Cronbach's alpha value can be calculated. When your data set has the Cronbach's alpha value is more than 0.70, it means that data is reliable. And you can establish, once the reliability is coming, you can go to the validity. So how you can measure it and what is supposed to measure? Means that we are measuring the things which we require to measure. That is very important. The question of validity is raised in three forms: form of test, purpose of test, and population for whom it is measured. Now coming to the point that what is the parametric test and non-parametric test before I come to the hypothesis formation. In parametric statistical analysis, the assumption is the normality. It means that data is being shaped. Very important. On data have the assumptions of the equivariance, specifies the variance of the sample and their corresponding population are equal. That is for parametric test. But if these parameters are not being satisfied, then we have to use the non-parametric test. It means that In the case of ratio and interval scale also, you can utilize the non-parametric test. But when your database is normal and ordinal data scale, you cannot use the parametric test. That's very simple. Non-parametric test is basically for the ordinal and nominal scale. But when you take the quantitative database and normal distribution curve assumptions are not being satisfied, then you can go with the non-parametric test. But parametric test can only be performed if your data is on the ratio scale and the interval scale. I think concept is very clear to every one of you. There should not be any confusion on this. Why non-parametric tests? To achieve the correct result from the statistical analysis, we should know the situation in which the application of non-parametric is appropriate. Underlying data do not fulfill the normality assumptions. Population size is too small, means less than 30. The analyzed data is ordinal, cannot remove the outlier, and non-parametric tests work when we skewed distribution represented by median. Next we come to the difference, just I am leaving it ahead because this I have already discussed. Parametric test is required more conclusion will come while non-parametric test is simplified. Now basic application to do the parametric test. When the sample size is less than equal to 30, but more than 30, then we have to use the t-test. Number of time I seen that students are mistaking the t-test and z-test. T-test and z-test both have formula is same. Only difference is that when the sample size is more than 30, we have to use the word z-test, we have to calculate the z-test. If the sample size is less than 30, we have to use the t-test. But the t-test condition is very important, that the number of samples should be minimum 3. So if the calculated value of t, that is given under the modular way, if the calculated value of t is greater than the table value with a degree of freedom, in the sample statistics, always the degree of freedom is going to be n minus 1, because one number is considered as a base to make the comparison among the others. So, say for example, if we take a 25 sample, then one sample is coming as a ground level and balance 23 you are measuring or comparing with the base level. So degree of freedom is n minus 1. So if the calculated value of table t value is greater than the table value, then we reject the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis says that there is no difference. But when we reject, it means that it says that there is a difference. Second rule for giving the judgment of the hypothesis testing for small sample only, if the calculated small ethnic p-value is less than the level of significance, that is I said 5% or 1%, then you reject the null hypothesis. So understand, calculated t-value is greater than table value or p-value less than the our accepted level of significance, then hypothesis is rejected. When the sample size is more than 30, we use the z-test and the logic is remains same. Calculated value more than table value for degree of freedom n minus 1. You say none hypothesis is rejected and two samples are significantly different. Same way the p-value less than 0.05. I have taken 0.05 because it's a social science and the life science is coming. Hypothesis may be simple hypothesis where we can say we completely define the exact parameter value of P. Exact parameter value of P means 0.05, never of significance. So null hypothesis says that there is a equality specifying exact value of the parameters. Null hypothesis claim that there is no effect in the population, while alternative hypothesis claim that there is an effect. Null hypothesis is something to which researcher aims to find the evidence against its perception. Thus, it negates the researcher perception. Like doctor also tries to be send you for the medical test, and they are being saying that report is positive. It means that something is wrong. Nothing is wrong is negative. So as with weak prediction, though the researcher is not able to find the evidence to support the claim, still the existence of the negation is a matter of chance. So null hypothesis is always indicated by HO, H0. Value of the H0 can be equal to, greater than or equal to, or less than equal to. This is the three parameters is coming for null hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis, symbol as a HA or H1 is the opposite. It describes that there is a presence of an observed effect between the variables. Means whatever the medicines have been given, observed effect have been seen. That patient have been cured. Whenever there is a training is being given to the employees on the job, we are assuming that they are being benefited the assumptions and everything. Okay. Here we are mathematically using the sign not equal to, less than or more than. So when we take the less than, it is going to be left tail. When we say the greater than, it is right tail of the curve. Now we come to the very important points. That is the concept of hypothesis continue. Composite, that is already I discussed. Alternative hypothesis three parameters by inequality. Test statistics based on appropriate probability distribution, you have to do it. For this purpose, Z distribution on the Norman curve is used for large sample. I am repeating this point. This is the point which make your research paper rejected or making your research study globally not acceptable. And T distribution in word is to be used for small sample. In India, people are doing it anyway, but we have to be very careful about it. Never of significance. In testing of the given hypothesis, the maximum probability with which we would be willing to risk a type 1 error is the never of significance. Alpha 0.0 word is used for high precision. That is what I said in medical science. And alpha 5% is used for moderate precision never. 5% never of significance, it implies that there are the 5 chances of 100 that we reject a correct non-hypothesis. It means that the non-hypothesis is correct, but we reject it. So it is known as type 1 error. Confidence coefficient, that is what we say the confidence level in normal way. It is represented by beta, that is 1 minus alpha. The probability of rejecting a HO given that specific alternative is true. So power of the test is computed by 1 minus b. Critical region. The area under the probability curve is divided into two regions by taking the vertical line of the bend-shaped curve. Regions of rejection where the non-hypothesis is rejected. So non-hypothesis accepted is coming on the in-between parameters. Region of acceptance, non-significant region where the non-hypothesis is accepted. One-time test. A test of any statistical hypothesis expressed as a symbol of less than or more than is called one-time test. However, the entire critical region lies in one-time of the distribution. So we take the value is alpha upon 2. So when it's on the right hand side, it is entirely right plane of the distribution. When it's less than, means left plane of the distribution. Two-time test, a test of any statistic hypothesis where there is no alternative is written with a symbol equal to is written with a symbol not equal to is called the two-time test. Means there may be the positive impact or there may be the negative impact. That is the two-time test. And the region is split into the two equal parts, one in each state of the distribution. And the critical region lies on the change side. Here I mentioned one-time test. Is a graph is very clearly say. Left hand side we have come to the rejection region. In the last graph we have come to the right hand side as a rejection region. In the two-time test we have come to the two level left and right hand. Now the question is coming. What is the critical value? Critical value tables are being available in each and every research methodology, each and every statistical books. At the end of the place, I am giving you the reference name of reference book too. The value of test statistics which separate the area under probability curve into the critical area, rejection area, or the acceptance level. It depends on level of significance and alternative hypothesis. This is what I already said. If the calculated value, you reject the HO. If calculated value is lower, you accept the HO. So, if the non-hypothesis is true and you are rejecting, non-hypothesis is true, but you are rejecting, then it is known as type 1 error. When the non-hypothesis is false, it means you are supposed to reject the non-hypothesis, but you have not rejected. That is known as type 2 error. Coming back to the summary, that parametric test and non-parametric test definitions are given for your study here. Non-parametric test is also known as distribution free test, that there is a no specific distribution is in existence. Test variables are determined on the nominal or ordinal level. If the independent variables are non-metric, then non-parametric test is used. Here also, further I have said what tests are to be used, like assumptions are available in the parametric test. No assumptions are available in the non-parametric test. Central tendency value in the case of parametric is mean. Normally in the non-parametric we are using median. Sometimes we can use a mode also. Coordination. Normally we are using the Pearson coordination. Here in the non-parametric case we have to use the Spearman. Probabilistic distribution is going to be parametric normal. In the non-parametric, it is going to be arbitrary. Population knowledge is required in case of the parametric, does not require in the case of non-parametric. It is used for interval data and it is used for nominal data. Applicability is going to be variables. Here it is going to be non-parametric attributes, characteristics are important. In the parametric test, we have to use the Z test and T test. Cushion bonds and Mann-Whitney test is to be used for non-parametric. These test calculations are available directly from SPSS, but few tests now important. I am explaining and giving you formula. For others, you have to find out the formula from statistical bucolic methodology. But understanding the formula is very important. Chi-square test is a very important parametric test. See, the chi-square test is one of the base tests used to judge the significance of population variance. We can use the test to judge if a random sample has been drawn from normal population or not. Number of times it happened, or what we heard in the newspaper, that removal of the waters have been done and some corner people have objected it because those samples are not being taken from the normal population or population data have been adjusted. Now non-parametric test report we can generate through the SPSS 31, where if you go to the option of the analysis after the transform, there is a non-parametric test for the one sample, means you are taking one sample only, or you are taking the two independent sample, like a one sample have been given medicine, one sample have not been given medicine. Or you can take the innate sample, means the same sample before the training what was their performance and after the training what was their performance. And legacy design we can do it. So this is a non-parametric test have been done. Now I am showing the one of the report I have generated for the non-parametric test, where the independent sample tests have been done. As you know, the screen is not being so clear, but on type of the test venues are being given here. And as I mentioned, when you have the official version is available, you can right click it and you will get the understanding of that. But whenever you may not have the official license copy of the SPSS is available, you can go through the specific book of the 100 statistical tests. That details I am giving you. From there you can come down to the conclusion that what is the meaning of each word. Then we come down to the non-parametric test for two or more samples. There you can go to the test the field given in the non-parametric test module only. You can go to the two more independent sample, goes to the field and select the field. Here I have selected the two fields like current semi and beginning semi, and I have given the group, and then I can run the project. I could not run this project. The reason was that I had SPSS 31 was a demo copy. That report will be available in the professional version only. Chi-square test as a non-parametric test is used to test the significance of association between two attributes. Number one. Number two, to test the goodness of fit for the result. That how the properly, how appropriate our theoretical distribution is there. Our appropriate theoretical distribution will be calculated by correlation. Is the measure of the level of relationship between the two variables. And correlation analysis is a tool available for analyzing the strength and direction of the relationship. Now, based on the correlation, we work out the I square value. Correlation is defined by I. So we take the square of the correlation, that is coefficient determination. Coefficient of determination. If the coefficient of determination is more than 0.70, then only it is your proper database. Now correlation may be happening anyway, so it's a relationship, but it does not establish the relationship that whether y will increase then x will increase or not. It only indicates the direction. So correlation is coming by way of pure chance. It is going to be mutually dependent on each other, and some other factors are also influenced. So here it is very clearly mentioned that when the x and y both are being correlated and both are being upward, it is positive correlation. When both are downward, it is negative correlation. So if the variation in the value of variable is not constant value and is not followed a variation which is not constant, even then the way it is said that there is a correlationship is there, and in that case we take the non-linear correlationship. Now speedily I am graphically showing you within 2 minutes or 3 slides types of relationship. This indicates the linear relationship, and one relationship is going to be curvilinear. It may be from left to right or right to left. Now, whenever the on database is near to the main line of base fit, it is known as strong correlationship. But when the data is being dispersed from the line of base fit, then it is known as the weak relationships. When the data is being dispersed and we are not in a position to form any conclusion, then it is known as the no relationship. Because here in the second graph it was saying y was the constant and values were changed. It means that there is no relationship. Yes, please. Now coefficient of correlation, I already said that it is going to be between -1 to +1. -1 is indicating the negative correlation. The positive correlationship is going to be established by the +1, and 0 value indicates the no correlation with the database. So if there is no correlation with the database, then you require to make your sample study more proper. Scatter graph way, This is the positive negative co-relationship is being established. When we calculate the Pearson coefficient correlation, this formula to be manually used. This is for the simple database and this is for the continuous database. You are not supposed to count it now. The Excel sheet is also giving you. But I just gave the formula because understanding of the formula and is showing it important. When in the case of the ordinal and nominal scale, we are using the Spearman's Yank coordination coefficient, where the yanking have been given based on judgment. So probable error can be worked out for the same, to which it depends on random sampling. I already said that I square of the coordination coefficient is very important. So 0% variation in y is attributable to x. So there is no relationship when we come down to the 50% or when we come down to the 100%. Normally in research study, we expect the coefficient of determination should be more than 0.70. But this is going to be calculated by the system and the coefficient of determination is a I squared as determined by the I squared. Or sometimes you can use the formula of the equation sum of square upon the total sum of square. I square is also going to be between 0 to 1. I square does not have the positive or negative side. This indicates the perfect linear relationships that the 100% relationship is being established. Now, when we come to the coordination, there are the chances that the auto coordination can be coming to existence over the time period of the database. Auto coordination can be come into existence when data is connected over the time to defect if auto coordination is present or not. So it is basically indicating the SU-driven parameters, and these SU-driven parameters take you towards the probable errors. So coordination coefficient is computed and we can find out the probable error. So testing the reliability of an observed value depends on condition of random sampling. It is said that if the probable random if the value of the I is less than the probable error, I is not significant. If the value of I is greater than 6 times of the probable error, then I is significant. So this conclusion is very important in our research project to move ahead. So in the data analysis, it is to be very clearly mentioned. Now, once we understand that the coordination does not establish the effect and co-relationship, but we like to always establish the close relationship. Coordination can be scatter diagram and we calculated the coordination. So we need to work out the equation analysis. Equation analysis is basically to predicting the value of a dependent variable based on at least one independent variable. So if the independent variable is 1, it is known as linear regression analysis. if the independent variables are more than one, two or more, then it is known as multilinear regression analysis. Linear regression analysis and multilinear regression analysis, both reports can be generated from the SPSS database. So independent variable is also known in some of the research methodology book as a regression. Some are using the words predecessors, predictor, or explanatory. Dependent variables are also being named as a regress or explain variable. So when we come down to the regression report generation, then in the SPSS 31, in the analyze icon, we have specifically the regression is the given, and there the sub reports can be available. Like you can say automatic linear regression, linear model, curve estimation. Curve estimation, it means that you can find out the curve value. You can go to the multi-level and you can search out those particular reports. Here I try to be generate the, yes, it will be taking 10 minutes. Yes, it is within 10 minutes I'm going to complete it. Okay, so this is the report being generated where regression model value is coming. Now regression report is categorically giving you the value of the mean, standard deviation, and range is given. The pitfall of the regression analysis is very important. As a research scholar, you have to make sure that you never going to be extrapolate the regression line beyond the data range given to you. So you have to come to the strategy. If there is a violation of the normal distribution is happen, then you can go to the alternative method and avoid to make the predictions or forecast outside the relevant range. Simple linear regression model can be used where the system will give the answer, where the intercept value is going to be considered as a BGO, and then the curve is drawn, which indicating the slope B1. The difference between the predicted value and observed value is known as the error term. This error term is specifically calculated by the SPSS 31, and this is known as simple linear regression model. That is the same thing I have explained, that this is the y cap is equal to predicted value of y based on the regression intercept, which we have said graph is starting after the geo value of the y, and the b1 is the regression slope what we mentioned it, and this is the observed value of x. SPSS 31 is giving you the linear regression statistics. So when you go to the linear regression statistic report format in the analysis, you are going to the linear regression, and then on linear regression, once you click, you come down to the linear regression statistics where it is calculating modern fit, R-square change, description. I have not tick everywhere. Wherever you require, you can make the tick. You can also find out the covariance. The dustbin Wesson variance can be calculated, and then you give the continue, and then you click to the OK, then your report will be generated. This is the least square method can be used, where BGO and B1 I obtained by finding the value of BGO and B1 that minimize the sum of y minus y cap. So you can use the least square method and you can minimize the differences of your database. This is what the values are being said, that BGO is the estimated average Seni and B1 is the estimated change in the Seni on one account change in the one of the parameters. Simple regression model. I have taken small example. I am speedily moving it. The dependent variable is a house price and the independent variable is square foot. This is the hypothetical value have been taken for house price in NAC and the square feet area. The graphical presentation is made where it indicates that if we can draw the line of base feet by Norman hand, and once we draw it by the Norman hand, we can come across that this is the way database have been collected. Now here, the statistical model says that house price is 0.98.2.24833 plus 0.11 per square foot. Now what it indicates? 98 will indicate that there is no houses at a 0 square feet. This is very fair. No houses at a 0 square feet. So BGO just indicate that houses within the range of sizes I observed is the portion of house type not explained by square feet. It means that it is the area based price but not represented by square feet. Then 1.0, 0.11 tells us that the average value of a house increases by 109.77 on average for additional 1 square foot. Based on that, we can predict the house value for the 2000 square foot. That comes to 3,17,850. So, but I already said, whenever you use the interpolation, means within the given end, extrapolation means outside the given end. While using the regression model for prediction, only predict the value within the relevant range. Our statistics book, school level, college level, university level, undergraduate course, statistics books are saying that you can predict the value also. But in research, we can't predict the value. That's a very important. Then we next come to the very important last thing, that is ANOVA, analysis of variance. Is a statistical value when we have to work out the difference within the groups and between the groups. Means within the groups, if the 50 patients are taken, how much variations have been happened because of their age, capacity of the immunity, and second group. Then you compare between the two. And that is to be done by F-test. So the key assumptions of the F-test, that every observations are independent, there is a normal distribution curve, there is a homogeneity of the variances, and the data structure is proper. So robustness and the non-negotiable level have been searched out here. Now F-test versus T-test. This is the important for every research project. This slide is quite important. F-test and T-test are complementary. See, generally students are making error in this. T-test to be followed if the F value is significant. F-test is followed when the T-test is not significant. So if your T-test value is coming to non-significant, you are not supposed to present your F-test value region. SPSS means generate the region. SPSS is basically the GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, otherwise. So it performs on statistical operation. But when we go on presenting our region, when we discuss our region, we have to follow this thing very categorically. If the t-test is not found significant, then only the f-test value to be given. Second, last bullet, very important, f is the square of t in that case, and t is the square root of the f. And the report is generated by the system where on type of the results and the decisions are also being given. These decisions you can write it properly. Now I'm coming to the conclusion, Neha. As you said, and I mentioned 10 minutes. I planned according to 110 minutes discussion. Okay, my PPT. Bibliography, you can use the business research method for getting the fundamental. Chanda V, research methodology by Paresh Shah. Go AS and Go SS, statistical methods for practice and research. Kanji GK, it is one of my favorite books. Let me put it very clearly. Kanji book is my favorite book because during my PhD study also, I have more used that this book before going to the manual working. Okay? Because it's our own test are very categorically explained. So I know that whether this test to be performed or not. So when I come across set of test is performable, then I can do the manual working. Because our time, there were only calculator, okay? Normal calculator. So you can understand. Then Nagurkar sir books are very famous. Paresh Shah books of the PHI is also good. Sayangi book is not revised since now, but it is one of the good book. Or you can go to the business statistics by Thakkar and Thakkar. Thank you very much. Do you have any question? Hence? Yes, sir. Yes, Anuj sir. I hope that it is being over the head, not majority people. No? Oh, no. Ah, it's sort of, I'm not saying no. And it's a main thing of the research thesis. Chapter number 3 and 4 mainly depends on this. I used to be go through the chapter number 4 first. That what my eminent is coming. Then in my research methodology, I revise the parameters. Today also when I prepare research project, I go by that particular thing. Thank you, Anuj sir. Thank you, Neha, for giving me the opportunity to discuss and to explain little bit what I know about it. Because this is a vast area, I can't say that I am 100% correct. I am also a learner at this moment. That is why I say that since last 1 week I was working on SPSS 31 version and trying to find out on the demo version. Frankly, I'm telling you, I have not purchased the version at and not planning to purchase also, okay? Because it's a very costly. But this is one of the very important things. So very important thing you should understand that whenever there is a subject experts are there in the research area, like a finance expert, HR expert, biostatistics expert, or any area, you need to be concentrating. You need to understand what test to be used and when to use and why to not to use particular. I hope everyone, every participants have enjoyed it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much to every one of you and Shobhit University. I came to your university 6 years ago, exactly, and there only I went into some major illness and came back. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.